There we go. That's what I feel like with cross legs. Okay. So I was just talking about precomputed time bubble, competition, temporary upper dimensional, instant computation. So every option of a game is precomputed. You can go beep, it finishes. And then it plays out in time, uneditable. So you cannot cheat it. You cannot be an outside factor and cheat it. You're inside of a whitelist only bubble, and you do not get any support from outside. So you can't have your hacks, you can't have your cheats. It just does not allow. There's no bio-augmented reality cheats, there's no assisted protocol, there's no spiritual cheats, there's no advantages. The only advantage you have is you, the player, your experience, your knowledge, your wisdom, all that jazz. So that has to do with defining all lowest factorial bits in the universe and lowest factorial bits in the game itself. So when you have all the lowest factorial bits of the universe, all the lowest factorial bits of the game, it goes all permutations of what's possible between the competitors. And I was just talking on my stream earlier, I think that we've reached this phase in our life as human race, and we've reached these extrapolations, Wi-Fi, root consciousness, biology is technology kind of stuff. And I saw yesterday some of the coolest things is releasing this in like football. So you cannot like rig matches with spiritual, astral shenanigans, which is more like biohacking to me in any way. And that's not really something that's cool. Biohacking is not okay because nobody really consents to that. And if they do, like, they're probably not into competitive sports or competitive gaming. So I wanted to talk about so much stuff. I had something very specifically planned. I guess it wasn't that important. Either way, I really want to go to Google by next year and help push gaming standardization for mobile gaming. Lowest factorial block engine, meaning we'll go, here is a form, and your game, no matter what, has to fill these prereqs. No magic games, meaning science games. Magic games are where you fill in a bunch of blank variables and say, these variables can just be magically edited. Meaning your game is an infinite, like, editable option. And that causes so many problems you would never even imagine. It causes all of the problems in gaming today. If you choose to have an editable gear that isn't public, like, let's say you're playing League and you go keyboard and mouse, right? If there is something that you can edit that is more than the keyboard and mouse interface in the game, that's what I'm talking about. That's magic gears. And magic gears need to go away because of infinite reasons. Imagine playing Monopoly and then adding a 0 to like one of your dollar bills. That's not fun. Imagine playing League of Legends and remote controlling the enemy team for like a little bit, like mid-fight, heatest fight, last fight of the game. You're like, oh, we're gonna lose. We're gonna win right here. Didn't hear a replay. Say it again. I didn't see it. I closed out the stream and rebooted it for webcam. I've actually experienced being remote controlled in League because of packet editors. I was playing. They had some kind of intermediary bridge firewall on the ISP to Riot. Me, their bridge, Riot. And in here, they were taking my packets and going, fuck this guy, fuck these packets, get them out of here, get them out of here. And they were shoving fake packets in. And then when I got the packets back from Riot, I was remote controlled into their enemy team. But they have encryption keys. How can they do that? Encryption keys are not constantly changing, and encryption keys are not infinite strength. What up, Colette? How are you? So, yeah, the problem is you need upper dimensional source. If you have an encryption key, let me talk about string theory with me. Why do we not get our will in remote control? Because God or Creator knows how to code the universe and make sure no hacking is real, right? Otherwise, somebody could take your body from you for real, like in all moments, because they go, beep, I have your encryption key and I get to remote control your body now. Come back to Summoner's War. I don't have an account. I'm playing Archero right now, and I'm kind of working on a lot of different cool stuff. I want to promote anti-cheats in a very cool way. Standardize the industry with anti-cheats. So I want to talk about League of Legends, and anti-cheat. If we had root consciousness, my relative perceived would be here. There would be no ISP. There would be source with all data, all permutations of reality. There would be 5 entities and 5 entities and source in between. The data between these 5 entities can stay here and go through source, no lag. All permutations of reality. You can go into upper dimensional precomputed and then go beep, finish. Come back out. The game plays throughout time. You've already finished at the beginning. The moment you enter the match, you've already finished. Right here. Start to finish, the whole permutation, every single thing. The winner, everything. Exit data packet comes out. Movie starts being played of exactly what happened. Root consciousnesses are all frozen until the end of the game, and then flow back out. The universe does not change at all. The universe is exactly the same, but we just got rid of all the cheat codes. Like that. Just like that. Just one theorem. If we put one theory into place, Wi-Fi root consciousness, and one language of source, and coded like that, all lowest factorial blocks of the universe, all lowest factorial blocks of the game, permutate instantaneously, engross in movie fashion, and then degross out. What about those that want to interact with you during the game? See, that's a whole different world. The ones that want to interact with you in the game, I would assume that here's the idea here. Each person has a universe. All 5 people over here has their own universe. And people are superposition remote controlling in the universe. So there is no time being frozen here. I'm talking about scientific stuff right now where no source is going to be in between the 5 players. So there's 10 players, and then there's one source. That's it. That's what I'm trying to promote. If there's other sources like ISPs, you have hacking issues, you have problems. If you have routers and Wi-Fi's and all these other things in between, 5 players, source, infinite sources in between, you have a fucking problem. You have problems, you have vulnerabilities, you have things that will happen that are not supposed to happen or can happen. One source, 5 entities, or team, player, source. That's it. That's the goal right there. That's what you want to get. You can't buy some. I don't know about all that. Playing Summoner's War might not. That's probably not going to happen. So, the easy way to do this is we're all downloading photons right here. Photon receiver, photon transcriber. Your brain. When we have biology as technology, you just go, these photons don't even need to be here. New layer of photons. Heaven. Heaven. Right. Now, these photons are being monitored all day. 24/7. Super strength. Permafied. Anti-hack. Anti-cheats. Anti-terrorism. All the cool stuff, you know? All the woke shit that we want. Imagine what you can do after that stage. All the things I'm talking about, all the things my videos are talking about, everything that I'm putting out is some real shit. Because I've already experienced it this life. And it's on the developer's consent. When you create a game and an art piece, it's an art piece. When you put things like these topics into the code and actually connect one language to source, it will start to work. It just needs a tray in and tray out. You need to be able to clearly define what you want to happen to your audience. And if you don't clearly define it, it could be this big instead of this big. Your game is supposed to be these pre-computed variables. When your game becomes these pre-computed variables against your consent or without your knowledge, you have this giant gray area of permutations of reality that allow cheat codes and all kinds of backdoors and nasties and all kinds of manipulation and things you don't want in your game. So, by next year, I want to have multi-WAN. I want to buy a lot. I'm going to put a house on it. I'm going to have gigabit internet with multi-WAN. Multi-WAN is going to be the next phase right now for me, because if we don't have virtual ISPs, multi-WAN is the next best substitute for anti-cheats. And that's because you're going to start sending packets out in RAID format, in redundancy format. And then it's like, can you even hack multiple ISPs at the same time? Like, if you do hack an ISP and start to filter packets out, how are you going to be certain it was the correct ISP? Multi-WAN can just send 2 channels of the same packets to the server. They land there. Server gets the packets from 2 ISPs. And sometimes faster, sometimes, depends on which ISP is ahead of the game that day. So maybe That's up to do with the developer servers too. Are they going to accept multi-WAN as a substitute for anti-cheat? Because the ISPs getting hacked is probably the most depressing thing I've ever witnessed in my entire life. I was like, how are these motherfuckers going to be packet editing? That's just the saddest shit. And I just mean any intermediary too, like your computer, your router, your ISP. That's a lot of range here. There's a lot of meat on the bone for a hacker to try and find a midway point to tap into to start bridging packets through their PC. And once they start doing that, once the connection is bridging through their PC, they have full control over your game. And the outcomes. Not to mention ISP to server. If they know that, there's even more meat on the bones for hackers. My goal is to remove all of this without removing it. Keep this here fake. And when people hit this with hacking, instantaneous FBI shit, right? Multiversal clause. Because if we have the photons being absorbed here, we can force engrossment in upper dimensional ways. So we can do virtual ISPs eventually. Virtual internet service providers means no lag. We're all inside a computer. We're changing our photons that we perceive because we've biohacked already. Meaning we're all immortal as well, because we'll have multiple locations of root conscious. Meaning it's going to be saved in a RAID format. So not only will you have one redundant root conscious, your biotech, but you'll have non-local upper dimensional biotech root consciousness housing. And this isn't something you can delete. Imagine trying to delete Google. Good luck. You gotta blow up the planet. And then I'm pretty confident we're already partnered with multiple planets. Imagine trying to blow up multiple planets at the same time. Because they could host our reality on their servers eventually. And we could host theirs in a RAID format. So you just keep expanding that through different species, and then it's like you have so many fallbacks. It's like, good luck. You ain't doing any of that crap. This is the future. Like, we're in 2021. We're already in a space race, boys. Like, let's get it. This is not a joke. Let's talk about quality of service. Quality of service is a router data routing list. So you'll have a whole bunch of computers, and they'll be like this. This one's the best computer. This one gets the first priority. If it's doing anything, it goes right through the router instantaneously. And then doing ding, 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 all the way down to the lowest. If these two are doing stuff at the same time, this one kind of lags, and this one goes, even if they're doing the same exact thing, because the quality of service on the top guy is higher. So you need to start thinking about quality of service big time. QoS based off alignment. And that sounds like prejudice, but we're all one comes to mind. It's not prejudice. In fact, it's reverse prejudice. To not have quality of service on alignment, meaning like terrorism down here, peace and love up here, Come on. It makes a lot of sense. It means everything to do it like that, because otherwise it's prejudice against thyself or others that would otherwise be at falter. My big thing is it's either consent or it's rape. And within those two things is every possible free will combination. If you start thinking in that and you put consent here and you put rape here, and there's a fine bar. That's it. Those are the only two permutations of all permutable options forever. It infinitely goes down and it infinitely goes up. And eventually you're at like peace. You're like, oh, I am the one, I am the one, I am the one. You know. That is that's where I'm going with it, because nobody deserves to have their peace disrupted. Only when their peace is disrupted is there going to be problems. And what I saw in the universe is there are very distinct ranks. You have darkness, you have light. Light and darkness kind of are warring, and they kind of like things to be equal, because war is not fun when you have free advantages. Then you have peace, and peace is like, fuck these guys. They're not even real. Then you have rainbow. Rainbow is not light and dark, and there is no pink in a rainbow. Rainbow is this. Everybody is in their place, and there is no quality of service. Because you have this here, this phenotype here, this phenotype here, and this phenotype here. And they're all in their places because that's what breeds the most soul fulfillment and peace. And if we go back to the quality of service, we go light or darkness, light, peace, rainbow. And that would be the quality of service of phenotypes. As for what's going on, because if you're just peace, right, you are not considering all of the others. So peace is not on top. Peace is just above the war aspect of realities in the terms of upper dimensional logics. Alright. Now I want to talk about precomputed time bubble science, too. Precomputed time bubble science. Imagine what Google's doing with quantum level resimulated chemistry redistribution. They are taking all of the lowest factorial blocks that they can perceive, quantum bits, right? All of them. They're bringing them all together. And they're going, here are all the different pieces that can exist. All the electron, proton, neutrons, all the little quarks and quantum lowest factorial bits. And then waves come into the equation. Photons come into the equation. Photon science is what RTX is getting into. RTX is ray tracing. Ray tracing is going to be scaled up into resimulation soon, guaranteed. So we're already at photon resimulation in gaming industry, meaning it's going to move forward into wave resimulation, meaning the photons and particles, things like combustion, are going to be so much more beautiful. Like if you throw a grenade, it's kind of just like most of the, I mean, like cool, whatever. You know, it's kind of like whatever. But like, imagine a real one. You ever heard of a flashbang? You ever seen a flashbang simulation? It's it's so crazy. I've had one simulated in my biotech, like this. Like somebody was like, bam, flashbang that fool with spirituality, and it worked kind of, but like I only felt it. I didn't perceive it. It was like, I lost all my senses for like a second, because I'm like super aware in the astral, and when I got flashbanged, it took away my astral senses for a moment, and I was just like, holy shit. And people are trying to accuse me of being a video game cheater because of my senses. They're like, oh, he's like on crack, yo. Like a good thing for gaming, apparently. Like, and I'm just like, write your game with expected radii of these things that you want. Don't go out and cheat in some weird finagling way to like try and say like, oh, this is my rationalized suppression. Like, I got remote controlled in League of Legends. Somebody remote controlled my packets in League of Legends. Instead of me backing away, like, and just we would have won probably too. I was like bombing. I was like chucking out damage. But no, just like randomly like lag out of nowhere, and I'm like, there's no lag. I don't never have lag on this game. This game's like 2D fucking, like the easiest game to never have lag. And then out of nowhere, like I'm like way over here in impossible to die land. And then the only way I would possibly have been taking damage in the moment is if instead my character started going this way. So my character was running into the enemy team and feeding. And I know this because you can just talk in chat. And like, what happened? Oh, you ran into the enemy team and fed. Oh. Cool. So pissed off about that. I'll never forget being remote controlled in an enemy team. Oh, that's ridiculous. It's like ARAM too. Like in an ARAM, it's like, bruh. I just want to play legit, and I just want to have fun. And this is at super high elo too. This is in top 10% ish area, around 22 to 2400 elo. So the games are hard as fuck already. You're playing against some of the best players in North America in ARAM. Everybody's trying really hard. And it is not a game. Like, you're trying to, like, get one poke off, and, like, they all hear, like, woo, 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 woo. Always dodging, always juking, always being pro. So getting remote controlled is, like, Jeej. That's auto Jeej. And they don't even need to do it that much, either. The thing that pisses me off the most is they try and, like, microdose it to not get caught. They just want to like, just wants, you know, oh, this is the team fight that's going to win or lose the game. We making a push on them, boys. Oh, let me remote control them into the enemy team real quick. I got this. Oh, some sketchy stuff. Precomputed time bubble video game. One language of source will change this. Why is the camera so foggy? I don't see it as that. Maybe because I have 360p turned on instead of like a higher. Either way, doesn't matter. But anyway. Lowest factorial block. Lowest factorial block. Lowest factorial block. Tell your developers. Post in the forums. Tell everybody. Every game developer needs to start defining lowest factorial blocks. Lowest factorial gears. If you have something that can change, make it change and lock into place where it is at in every single moment, and have every permutation of XYZ coordinate predetermined. The wildest thing in a lot of games is magic coding, where, like, let's say you say you can control this, you can control that, you can control this. Well, then you're like adding it on, like, oh, these are the controls to control these controls. Like, nah, you just made an error. These are the only controls that gear these controls. That would be a fix to the error. Because if these are controls and these are controls, well, if somebody goes to your server and says, change this to this, it'll work. You ever see gem hacks in, like, mobile games where people can go in and just go beep, gem hack it? That's because their coding isn't good enough yet. Because they have gears over here that aren't attached to other gears, making it so that this has to be changed like this for this to go like this. Instead, this is just sitting here blank with an add-on. Like, you can change this and it will change this too, but these are loosely defined instead of finitely defined. So the game developers need standardizing lowest factorial block gearing code. And they really, really, really need to start pushing it, because I'm so sick of cheating. Cheating is, like, running rampant right now. Everybody's complaining about it too. Like, I remember somebody came up to me a long time ago. It was actually Anna, for those of you guys that remember Anna. She came up to me and she was like, you know, cheat codes are real, right? And I was like, anti-cheats? Huh? What? Why does that matter? Like, what do you mean? Of course, everything's real. I was in that kind of phase. Like, everything's real, but, and so is, like, anti-cheats. I didn't really think about what she meant until, like, later in life. I started to think, like, she was informing me on a major topic to start promoting, start thinking about, start building about, start, you know, pushing that data out to source, to God, to the universe, because there's an infinity here in the universe, and there's infinite fixes for the infinite problems, because somebody's going to make a new problem, and there's a fix for that. But that problem and that fix have not even been invented yet. So we're just waiting for new problems to fix it. And I kind of want to just skip a lot of problems and go straight to the source root of so many problems and just call them all out of reality right away. And precomputed time bubble, Wi-Fi root consciousness, consent games, a better advertisement mandation. Like, if you want to host this game, you have to say yes or no to this, to this, to this, to this, to this, to this, and then we'll host your game on our platform. Because if cheating's real in your PvP game, we want to know yes or no ahead of time. Because otherwise, I can't ship this to our expecting clients, right? I can't ship this game. It will not ship. I will not ship it. That's what I want to get. I really want to get into Google and, like, promote this as, like, they're standardized. I want to see them blow the fuck up in, like, mobile gaming industry and in gaming industry in general. Maybe even make a PC transition, and maybe even make a PC to mobile engrossment. And I want to see that kind of thing happen. And then everybody's going to follow suit. Nobody's going to be like, these guys are losers. They ain't doing it right. I want to see it go ham. And if Google won't take me, I'm going to go to the next guy. I'm not going to go to iOS because I heard iOS is some magic sketch lords. I've had a bad spiritual feeling about iOS my whole life, and Apple. Not necessarily Apple, but like once iPhone came out, I had a really bad feeling about their company then. And I've been talking to Google and other game developers, and Apple. When I looked at Apple, it was almost like they were pushing magic into the phone industry. Magic is a bad thing, by the way. I'm going to tell you why magic is a bad thing. Because in my lingo, there is science and then there is magic. Magic is everything that is not science. Now, if you can predefine the science, then you can have a very good experience. Imagine predefining science so much you have the universe. What if the universe is science, but it can be magic? You can take the universe blueprint and go, I'm going to clone this over into a magic universe, and then now the options just start scaling in every direction. That's a dangerous thing, because unless you have the right variable set, you can go to hell real quickly. And it might just last for a moment or a few, because you're going to be like, oh no, get me out of that. But it happened, instead of it not happening. It not happening is the number one thing. You want it to not happen. You don't want to be getting your booty snatched. You don't want to be getting your soul snatched. Your soul meaning your root consciousness, what you perceive. You don't want to be losing that stuff. You don't want it to go into the wrong section of the universe. That's real stuff right now. I ain't even playing. You're all immortal. So what you do with your experience is up to you. But it's also up to me what I do with mine. And I ain't trying to have those bad experiences. I'm trying to have good experiences. Is it 9 yet? Is it 9 o'clock yet? It's not even close. 7:57. So I want to talk about something cool too. Here is plant consciousness. There's some plants right here. And they reminded me to talk about their consciousness. Inside of a plant, I had my perception put inside of a tree. One time in meditation, a shaman grabbed my mind and went into a tree. But first happened multiversal layer, tree. And now I'm looking inside of a tree from inside of a tree. Like this. And I see conscious being everywhere. It was a giant colony of conscious beings with God conscious beings inside of it. And they were all kind of working together. And they were shifting in superposition remote controls. They had a perfect utopian setup where the plant itself was in a utopian environment. No humans, no disaster, perfect air, perfect nutrition, perfect soil, perfect lighting. And it was superposition remote controlling the particles in a gear-like fashion into our realm. When they were changing, it was changing them. But the curses that we had on it here, it did not suffer from. Meaning our atmosphere or our soil conditions or, the things that we could not help. The things that hurt it would filter through these gates until it was gone, or a positive mannerism. So if we went and watered it, goes over the filter, and grosses into their utopian reality. And if we went over there and chopped it down, we remove this layer, and it sits there because it was not going to your realm of consent. It was going to its realm of consent. And I really want to think about that a lot. Is veganism really is it better? I mean, it can be healthier for you, but like at the same time, so is like omnivore. Omnivore's probably healthiest if you perfectly omnivore. But if you're just vegan, I see a lot of people that have been vegan for like their whole lives and they're like twigs. It's a lot of times low energy, a lot of times mood problems too, even. That's real. Is because nutrition controls your mood, your happiness, everything. They need more cacao. I was told cacao makes you happy. I work at a place called Chocolate Tree, and they use cacao a lot, and I'm very happy for that because cacao does make you happy. It's a mood stimulant, meaning positive, meaning happy. It's like a happy drug. And I heard if you fast a long time and eat a cacao bean or eat multiple cacao beans, you can get an extreme caffeine buzz and mood happiness buzz. So you'd be like, cacao is like that. So vegans, they have all the options. You can make veganism work. Because you can get all the proteins and all the fats you need, but it's harder, you know what I mean? Like, it's not easy. The ingredients you need to use are so vast. And that's really with anything. Omnivore is really the way, in my opinion. But that's because I also believe in root consciousness. Root consciousness, if you go to like Indian philosophy, ask Indian shamans or Indian gods, if you have access to that. Ask them about what happens to slaughter animals. That's a really cool one. I personally believe and know that all root consciousness on Earth is extrapolated. We're all kind of remote controlling here. And multiverse is a real thing. That's kind of what ghosting is when an animal is like, I'm going to be this animal for a long time. I'm going to stay a goat. You are not killing me. I don't care if you eat me. I'll chill with you. But you ain't, if I want to go and climb that mountain, I'm going to climb that mountain. You better not make me love you, boy, because I swear if you try and control me off that mountain, I'm gonna go ghost. I'm gonna let another goat come into your life. I'm gonna go be the goat, greatest of all time. I truly believe in a lot of this stuff too. This is real life. You cannot break a conscious being's consent forever unless they are consent breakers themselves. And there ain't many rapist goats out there, so pretty sure you'll be fine. I use the word rape lightly, and people don't like that because it just means lack of consent. To me. That's Moby Dick right there. So, think about this next time a vegan brings up the argument. is how many souls did you eat the last salad you ate? And then say, ask Source for the truth on that. Because Source will, if you say, if I was not saved, or if they were not saved by infinite power and technology, how many souls do you eat in a burger? Actually, a shitload. You wouldn't even be surprised. You'd probably be like, oh, but that burger's only like 0.01 conscious beings. Because you took like this much of the cow. And that's like 0.01 cow. Now, you have all of the veggies on there. You have all the ingredients on there. All of that matters. And I swear to you, each plant has so many conscious beings in there. I'm telling you, like, beginner conscious beings of the universe. That's what I'm trying to talk about right now. Is they're doing something so non-parallel that your brain phenotype doesn't, like, when we're in the human experience, our brain phenotype does not think in that phenotype of logic yet. I'm talking about ideaplex right now. Ideaplex, we have human ideaplex, scalable up into like alien ideaplex, and scalable sideways into like animal or plant ideaplexes. And these ideaplex are not easy to break through into. You have to consent and go looking for like shamanism and stuff like that, which I have done. I went into psychic therapy school, and that has to do with a lot of the punishments and a lot of the phenotypes of reality that exist, and a lot of like the what ifs. If this happens, then what happens to the person? And it has to do with consent and lack of consent. And when somebody consents to do lack of consent, and right, what happens when they do this? When they do that, anything in these options, what happens? That is what psychic therapy trade goes into, and that goes into angelism, and that has to go into like roles like multiversal police and God and being God's army and things like that. And that's where I went with my life in the last few years. As I went down those roads of exploration. And it's kind of like the Akashic. If you know much about the Akashic records, Akashic is like everything is downloaded. But not everything is available to everybody from that place. So you kind of have your own truth whitelist. Once you can see truth, you see truth in truth, whether it's a lie or not. Because if you sense a lie as exactly as it is a lie, you are sensing the truth. The way that anything presents itself to the fullest of your knowledge, you will know it exactly as is, as it's intended to be, the truth. Let's talk about superposition. Particles inside of particles. That can be multiverse explained. Meaning, if you can start to have superposition awareness machines, that could be multiverse awareness machines. I'm operating under one universe per conscious being. That's how easy the universe is to host relative to infinite power source. So you could be coming across somebody else's particles that are being superimposed into your universe for glue coating purposes. Because, like, if they edit this needs to get edited. I also want to talk about air and light. Air is here, which is a form of matter because it burns, right? And it photonizes and it wavinizes. It transmutes just like anything else. You can burn things like rock. You throw it into lava. It will wavinize and photonize. You throw it into plasma. It will wavinize and photonize fully. The carbon will even wavinize and photonize. Right? So, what does wavinize and photonize even mean? It means combusts. We're talking about heat waves. On a quantum particle level, the structure, atomic structure, is going like this until eventually one little piece breaks away, this little piece breaks away, this little piece breaks away, this little piece breaks away, and then they're at lowest factorial block, which is quantum, relative perceived lowest factorial block, until that piece of matter, that electron, photon, neutron, whatever it is, whatever kind of ion or particle it is, eventually it will get so what is it, heat charged wave, right? It's waving. It has even lower factorial blocks. So string theory, here, hold me up right here. I might break the universe. Logic. How do you create light? By taking that lowest factorial block that we call a quantum bit and making it even lower. Turns into waves, all kinds of different waves. Turns into light, photons. So you're basically removing the lowest factorial block of matter and turning it into gas or waves or photons or others too. I don't know all the lowest factorial blocks of the universe, but the lowest factorial block of matter is apparently quantum. We've looked 5 million plus times smaller than quantum and haven't found anything smaller than quantum yet. Quantum is particle like electrons and protons, neutrons, things like that, bosons, all those kind of things, all those kind of blocks. Where do I get this data? The universe, truth seeking, and Google, mostly, and YouTube. And with that being said, is you can just create idea plexes and go, how does that feel to be truth? Like, put your mind into it. Say, truth is this, and then let it transmute into only truth, and then re-look at it, and it will go, truth, idea, lie, idea, belief, idea. Belief idea is really good too. That can come first. It can go, lie is here, so truth, idea, or truth, lie, idea, truth, idea, belief, idea. And that will sum up the entire idea plex when you're feeling it within truth. And you really have to put belief and faith into truth. And you have to earn this stuff too. You got to walk in truth. You got to tell the truth. You got to evangelize. You got to be one with the truth. Or they're going to, put lies in your truth. And you don't want to be falling for no lies. Not when you're trying to study. Especially when you're talking about resimulation and gear theory. Like, imagine this. Quantum isn't real. set it aside. Why do we need quantum again? I can just shove photons into your mind. I hacked your mind. Here's your 2D photons plus time. Good game. What's anything else? There is nothing else for you. I give you photons and I give you time. The end. You know, you do not need all these other fancy constructional engrossment scientific methods. You just need pictures per second. Wouldn't that make resimulation easy? Dude, I am the fear dispeller. I am the slayer of fear. I will slay the fear today. So if you have anything, let me know. Because I'm so good at getting rid of that. I have all of the ideas to all of the magics that will get rid of all of the problems. I'm just working on everybody else's problems one step at a time. What's the resolution of this stream today? Trying to think if I should put it up or not. Ooh, nice. The webcam does go to the 720p right away. I like that better. I don't know why my webcam works so fine, or my camera into stream, but then when I go 720p and I'm gaming, like, what did I not pay my Illuminati fee or something? Like, where's my cell phone unlimited? It looks like 480. Oh. That could be to do with glue code, buffering. It could be actually lower quality than 720. What to do? Hey, what about New Life? Have you guys seen New Life? Is it good? I want to get in on New Life. I'm kind of jelly that it's out right now and I'm like here, like without a home, not renting, living out of my car. Yeah. Home is the next step, preferably by next year. What do you think you're doing? That's what I'm talking about. There we go. So, where I am right now, I want to talk about yesterday's topic about libraries in college, how they're kind of like one. I'm at a library right now, and it is kind of like a college. It's kind of like a super advanced college, actually. Like, it's like a mix between science and magic, and like learning that to. Oh my God! I got like this weird feeling in my body. I'm like so excited because of that. It's exactly what I went looking for. It's like Hogwarts in real life. And it's like all kinds of philosophical writings are here. And there's so many directors and guides here. Like, I met somebody who was like, ask me anything. Anything. And I asked him, I've said this once before, I asked him, where are the bio-augmented reality databases stored? Sounds crazy to you guys, but for me, I'm like a big believer. Like, I believe there are places in this world that are using magic bio-augmented reality and all kinds of cool stuff. And bio-augmented reality video games, bio-augmented reality like Facebook and telepathy MP3 players, like stuff like that. I was like, where's that at? And he's like, Alexandria. And I'm like, I'm going. I'm bringing Alexandria down. I heard like a week or two later that Alexandria has fallen, meaning Alexandria was stored in an upper dimension. And I was here. So I went up, relatively making Alexandria to fall to where I am. Alexandria was a library college kind of thing, kind of like where I am right now. And that's where I learned it, here. I learned about that here. So some really cool stuff with that. Oh. Aren't people in your world supposed to read books? Well, there is this thing called three-dimensional particle awareness machine. And if you write on a piece of paper, it's going to be aware that that piece of paper is exactly in that format. And then you have bramblefish. Imagine translating a whole book of data into raw files and then being able to download that in idea to your mind. Because imagine reading a book and then looking back on that book afterwards. It's like that. The whole book is saved there, right? It's like, whew, idea. I don't read books. I take synapses. I do theory crafts. I do problem solving. I find problems and I go, how do I solve that problem? And with the synapses that I've accumulated, I'm a very good problem solver. And that's what a lot of people are doing nowadays. They're watching YouTube. They're just reading synapses and trying to figure stuff out. They're like, this seems like something I could use. And then they synapse, and then they have understanding. When you have understanding, you can easily download books. Which is kind of why, like, I don't understand college degrees, is like, they have you jump through all these weird, frustrating hoops. And then at the end of it, you like look at it, and you look at it in idea format, and you're like, I just spent this many years to learn that? You could have just ideaed me that. You could have synapsed me this. Like, I could have started that profession 4 years ago. Like, I could go into I can go into any profession today. All you have to do is synapse me. Idea. If you synapse me idea, consent to me idea of what I need to do for my job, I will be able to do it. What about the prereqs? That is synapsing. I just heard somebody say prereq, and there is no prereq. There was no prereq selected. That was a fallacy made up. You know what I mean? Like, that's what synapses are. Synapses go, these are the 10 prereqs. or 100 prereqs. Let me give you the idea in order to complete the prereqs. And here's the synapse for each of these. And now you understand. And let's say you don't understand these synapses, these like 3, right? Now we're going to go to these 3 ideas, and we're going to go prereq, 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 until you have all of the prereqs and synapses known in order to do your job. It does not take a college degree to do this. I could learn almost any job in a month. Not 4 years. I'm talking about super advanced non-parallel jobs right now. I'm talking about like a month is going into a job that I have no idea what's happening or going on, or where anything is, or how to do any of it. That's going into a super non-parallel logic job. Going into a parallel logic job that I've already been in the industry, first day. If you synapse me correctly, if you train me first day correctly, I'll be doing that job correctly first day. But I'm also somebody that was a self-motivated person. I'm not a beginner. Oh my goodness, what are you doing? That bird out here though. Man. I do want to talk about that football thing too. Precomputed time bubbles will solve spiritual rigging, like spiritual game rigging. Oh my goodness. This bird over here just killed 2 bugs and he's going ham. He is a hungry fellow. I should point the camera at that, but I don't even know what's going on right now. Is that even legal? Bird's like, legal in my world? I'm hungry, bro. That was brutality. He just ate that whole grasshopper. Alright. Okay. I think I'm going to switch over to game. I'll be right back.